What's up, y'all? I just got out of a morning screening of Fantastic Four First Steps. Had to go kind of early in the morning because I have work this evening. But it was good. I really liked it. I do think the people saying that they finally made a good Fantastic Four movie are correct. It's not perfect by any means. Not everybody is going to love this movie. But just kind of going into it a little bit, I thought the cast was great. Vanessa Kirby was kind of a standout as Sue Storm. I don't know how to say his name. Ivan Moss. I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but really good as the Thing. I'm trying to remember his name. The guy who plays Johnny Storm. Really solid. It was not as quite. I think a lot of people have been saying this, but not quite as much of like a Chris Evans kind of cocky womanizer in this movie. But it almost worked better, especially since the dynamic I like in the comics is Peter Parker and Johnny Storm's kind of relationship, and this Tom Holland's version of Peter Parker is not quite as much of an arrogant punk as the comic version of him. So kind of lessening on the kind of cocky, arrogant side of Johnny Storm in the comics. I feel like they're kind of almost setting up for a dynamic there. Hopefully. I really like that relationship in the comics and that kind of rivalry in the comics. So hopefully they explore it in some kind of future project. Really like the look of this movie. This feels like its own distinct kind of movie set in this universe, where a problem with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a problem a lot of people have, is that every single movie looks the same. It looks like it was made by the same creative team over and over and over again. Whereas this movie, the kind of retro, futuristic 60s aesthetic they go for, it really, really works in my opinion, and it captures your attention right away, and it holds your attention, where it's like, okay, this is a different Marvel movie from what we've seen for the past 17 years. So I thought that was excellent, really well done. I thought the score by Michael, I'm gonna get flack for trying to pronounce his name, Giacchino, the Fantastic Four score he did for here was awesome. I think he always does a good job with scores. I think the only score he's done that I wasn't very fond of was the Spider-Man Home Trilogy score, and even then it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily a terrible Spider-Man score. It's just, but he always does a good job, and he does a good job here. I think Pedro Pascal, at first I didn't like when they announced that he was cast. Well, it kind of went down the road. First he was a fan cast, and I was like, I don't really see it. And then he was being eyed for the role, and then I was like, yeah, I don't really see it. And then they officially announced him, and it's nothing against him in particular. I never saw him as a Reed Richards type. But he sells you on it. Like, he does, he fits the role. He does a good job in this, as kind of the lead Reed Richards in this movie. So I got to give him props where props are due. He does not, screw the pooch in this movie. What else? Kind of on the downside of things, I guess on the downside, just depending on you who are, it didn't really bother me that much. But this is not a very action-packed movie, and that's what a lot of people kind of look for when they're going to a comic book movie, is a lot of action, a lot of fighting. This movie is a lot of sitting around, kind of the family, kind of sitting around, planning, scientific, like, thinking, like critical thinking, trying to figure out a plan to stop Galactus and save planet Earth. So people who are going into this expecting a lot of Fantastic Four action are not, outside of the final battle with Galactus, they're not going to get a whole bunch of it. So that's something to keep in mind for sure. Didn't bother me that much, but when you kind of get halfway through the movie, when you kind of get, you know, a little ways into the runtime, and you're still like, man, they have not been using their superpowers or fighting all that much. Like, it's been a lot of sitting around and drawing out equations on chalkboards. So that will probably catch a lot of people off guard and be like, this movie sucks. It doesn't suck. It's just, it's not your typical action-packed beat-em-up superhero movie, which some people will like, some people will hate. I don't know. And I think a comparison people are going to be asking about is, which one's better, Superman and Fantastic Four? And I get it. I get the want to compare these two movies because they're two comic book movies that came out 2 weeks apart from each other. I think it's stupid. I think it is stupid to try to compare these two movies. They are two completely different movies with completely different scripts, about completely different characters, about completely different comic universes, made by completely different creative teams. So it's comparing apples with freaking dogs. Like, it's just stupid in my opinion. And depending on who you are, you're gonna either like Superman better, or you're gonna like Fantastic Four better. Like, it's just depending. Are you a DC person? Are you a Marvel person? Are you a Superman person? Are you a Fantastic Four person? Whatever your answer is, you're probably gonna like that movie better. Me personally, I like Superman better, so I liked the Superman movie better than this movie. Does that make Superman a better movie than the Fantastic Four? No. But that's who I am personally. So I'm not going to go into it. There are, in terms of a filmmaking quality, there are things that Superman does better, and there are things that the Fantastic Four does better. And I'm not going to dissect it. I'm here to kind of talk about Fantastic Four, not really compare it to a completely different comic book movie. But yeah, like I said, feels good to finally have, in my opinion, you know, the first kind of really good Fantastic Four movie. And there are people who are going to walk out of this and say they still haven't made a good Fantastic Four movie. I disagree. I think this is a good one. I don't think it's a perfect one. I don't think it's a 5-star movie, but I think it is the first really quality Fantastic Four movie we've gotten. So definitely go check it out. If you're a Marvel person, this does feel kind of like I'm not going to try to say that word because I'm going to mess it up and people are going to make fun of me, but the kind of the revival of the MCU, the Marvel films, where they've kind of been dry and in my opinion, some people have loved it, but they've been dry and lackluster since the end of the Infinity Saga. Not that every movie's been bad. There have been good movies in the Multiverse Saga, but this is what the Multiverse Saga should have been from the very start. So now that we're finally kind of getting something different, something new, it feels good, man. It feels like, yes, like this is what the Multiverse Saga should have been and should be moving forward. So I'm looking forward to kind of what Marvel is doing, looking forward. I'm also looking forward to what DC is doing next. So if it's summertime, you got some spare time, go check out Fantastic Four. Go check out Superman. Just go check out a movie, man. Keep the movie theaters alive. Keep movies alive. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out, y'all.